Hey guys, welcome back to my video game channel. And this time I'm actually going to do a video game review of a game that's been out for a few days. I'm kind of behind as far as other people doing reviews and other reviews of this video game coming out, but I figured I'd go ahead and give it a shot and give my thoughts and opinions on this amazing game that I've had the pleasure of being able to play for many years now. It's easily probably one of my most favorite games of all time. Give or take some other games that really stick close to my heart. But of course I am talking about Shadow of the Colossus, the PS4 remake that came out rather recently, and I have a special edition here that comes with a few little neat things, a special package, and then a few stickers, a special game guide, and all that stuff, and special DLC, quote-unquote, that you can download from the store, although this game itself won't get any downloadable content, I'm pretty sure. It's just, the game itself is only 40 bucks. So, if they ended up releasing DLC, I'm gonna flip my shit. But chances are they won't do that. But anyway, back to the game. I can't really say, this game has been getting rave reviews if many of y'all are paying attention. It did, obviously, when it was first released back in 2005. And then it obviously was remastered for the PS3 and came in as a bundle with Ico. And then, Bluepoint made an entirely new remake from the ground up for the PS4 of this game. And this game is fantastic, y'all. I mean, all I can say is like, if I'm speaking to any of y'all who are playing it for the first time or haven't played, the original version in 2005, and this is the game, and this is the first time you're being exposed to it, I highly recommend this game. It's not a full $60 game. It's only 40 bucks. I really recommend that you buy this game and give it a shot. Probably for the first time you're playing through it, it probably is at most. I remember, I think when I first played through it on normal, it took me about 12 hours, roughly, for the first time I played through it. It goes considerably faster if you play it again, but needless to say, it's well worth your money to play this version of the game if it's playing for you the first time. For those who have played it before, I still highly recommend you get this version. For me, I already have 3 copies of it. I have my original PS2 version, I have the PS3 remaster, and I have this one. Probably not going to hang on to my PS3 master any more longer, but anyway, because of this game, it's really amazing. The level of detail that this game has is quite amazing, and I am going to obviously talk about some gameplay as I review this game, but like, the game itself, like, obviously you have the main character, and then you have your horse, Aggro, and generally the idea is, obviously, you're supposed to go from one point to the other, from the shrine in the middle of the game, and go out and fight all these colossi. There's 16 colossi. And normally you're supposed to always do this by horseback just to save time, but because of the level of detail in this game, I found myself just getting off my horse and huffing it on foot to the colossi just so I could really take in the environment. That way I could really absorb it in. It's a gorgeous game. As I would come across bodies of water or fruit trees just to hang out and just look around, going through forest, all that stuff, it's just really amazing. Or if I come across any type of structure or whatever just to check it out, I already know this game forward and back. I know where some of the landmarks are, I know where a lot of like set pieces are and all that stuff, but it didn't matter because felt like I was seeing it again for the first time, or like it was a fully realized version of what this game world could be like. And I was just walking around on foot most of the time, and that's really what set in for me the strongest was, it's really harkened back to the old feelings that Shadow of Colossus really imposed on the player. These feelings of solitude and loneliness, long moments of quiet, just being by yourself and your horse, just going around this unknown, lost world. And then, it's juxtaposed by the loud, intense fights against the colossi themselves when the music and the orchestra starts playing and all that stuff. Fantastic soundtrack. This game has always had fantastic music. I love it. And again, for me personally, it was just those quiet moments of being by yourself, just looking around. And Aggro herself was just always running up to me, trying to beg me to get on top of her to ride her, but I just couldn't. I just felt really inclined to walk around everywhere. And it took longer, but I was just really trying to allow myself to absorb this game world as much as I can. For those of y'all who also don't know, the control scheme for this game has been changed up a little bit. Now, if some of y'all who are against that idea, there is an option in the game for you to revert back to the original control scheme of the classic game, if that's something most of y'all may be used to. But the control scheme itself has changed a little bit. They felt like it has a more modernized feel to it, because some of the buttons you had to use to do certain actions in the original game were kind of counterintuitive to what other people were used to at the time. I think like the jump button at the time was triangle, but this time they've mapped it to X, which makes a lot of sense for a lot of players in this day and age, where it may make more sense where the jump button may be keyed to the X button in a lot of more mainstream games. So it may feel like it makes more sense, but for me, like someone who played it in the past, I was still making those mistakes of pressing the wrong buttons a lot. Like I may be riding aggro, but I would be pressing the wrong button to make her gallop faster, and then I would think I'd be raising my sword to look at the sunlight, but then I would end up jumping off the horse or making her stop or whatever. At least initially, I was making certain mistakes like that with the control scheme because it was different and I was inputting buttons incorrectly. But after a few minutes, I eventually got used to it. After at least probably by the second Colossi, I was used to the control scheme, and it was easier from that point forward. The game itself also has a few new features in this new version of it. Particularly in the main menu, you can look at certain concept arts and some comparison pictures and stuff like that you can unlock as you achieve certain tasks in the game, whether it's beating Colossi in certain play modes, whether normal, easy, or hard, completing certain time attacks, doing reminiscence mode. And if you don't know what all that is, just all I can say is most veteran players will know what I'm talking about. But basically, you can unlock all these new things that you can look and view in the main menu as you do certain tasks in the game. Also, I'm sure it's been talked about quite a bit already on YouTube and so forth, but there have been a few, maybe one or two new things that have been added to this game within the actual game itself that unlocks new secrets that have been added to this version of the game. And some people may have their gripes about that, feeling like, they shouldn't do something like that to take away from what the original game was trying to achieve. But I personally liked it. It's basically a collectible system where you can collect these gold coins. And the only reason why I like it, aside from the fact that in order to get a few of them, you actually have to do time attack trials to unlock certain items to even be able to get to certain locations to get these coins. Aside from that, it encourages exploration. It encourages you seeing new spots throughout the world that maybe you missed the first time you ever played this game way back when it first came out. Most people were probably just more than enough content to just go from point A to B, fight the Colossi, return, and rinse and repeat over and over and over. And maybe, it would encourage them to go and check out some of the prayer shrines or fruit trees or find white-tailed lizards and all that stuff. But I like the gold coin system because you can find some new areas, some areas that sometimes you can now actually scale, climb basically, or jump to get on top of to find new and interesting areas. And I like that. It just encourages you to really explore this beautiful world even more. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much my review for Shadow of the Colossus. Very short and sweet. Again, I highly recommend this game. Go check it out. Go download it. Go do whatever. Even rent it. I don't care. Just give this game a shot. Because, as many people have said, this is like the pinnacle example of us basically video games being capable of being works of art. It's something that's been talked about so much about this game. Like, this proves to everyone that games can be art. And I still highly think so. There's many things about the game that does well when it comes to subtlety. The game itself doesn't have that much of a complex story. For those of y'all who don't know anything about it, it doesn't have that complex of a story. But it's mainly about what video games have always been so good at doing, and evoking a emotion or mood within the player as they do the certain tasks throughout the game. Whether it's finding Colossi or exploring, it creates this feeling inside you that you can't really describe. It's more like you're linking yourself to the character of Wander, and not only are you feeling like you're there, but you're probably at least subliminally feeling what maybe he could feel if he's going through this, as you know, trying to basically revive his loved one, and having to do this deed for this omnipotent being that we have, that's complete secret to him and to the player as well. And that's where Shadow of the Colossus really shines. That's why it's considered one of the best games of all time, especially for the PS2, because of how it classically imbues what video games were always intended to do. Make you feel immersed and actually in a living, breathing world. Shadow of the Colossus Remake for the PS4, complete, total 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Go check it out. See y'all guys soon.